Okay, the purpose of this video is to go over my 2000 return responses for a frivolous filing fee that's been attached administratively, but I never got a bill for it because under Title 15, IRS can't bill you, apparently. Anyways, go over this letter really quick. This is the first one, the response to it, that I sent out late. No, I sent it out in July. Right when I got the voucher and all that crap for letter 3176 Charlie. And so basically I said, I'm not engaged in trade or business activity. And I'll go ahead and read it to you. I don't want my name disclosed. And here's the reference for my second letter, which I did a lot of research when I read this whole freaking presentation at privateaudio.homestead.com/Winston Shrout _IRS_IRS_debt_collector.pdf. So that's where I got it from. All this nil deceit judgment. Has that been filed against me? I don't know. Did they take it to a judge? Did they just say administratively, oh, it's $5,000? No, they didn't even do that. They just administratively put $5,000 like I owe taxes for $5,000. So, federally privileged worker, you know, I'm not qualified for that. I'm not a federally privileged activity under 3121 or a federally privileged worker under 3401 under the Title 26. That's basically, I just swear to God that I'm not engaged in trade or business. Got it? And so I basically said from me to this guy in Ogden. Don't ever file Ogden or fucking Fresno. God, those guys are assholes. Notice to agent is notice to principal and vice versa. That means principal is the IRS, I think, and agent is the IRS agent, in this case, Carl Arch. It's probably not his real name, of course. You don't ever give your real name for people who hate you, and you're lying and deceiving millions of people, and he's the manager over there putting all these frivolous $5,000 hold-ups on people's accounts. I can't even call them bills. I don't know what the fuck they are. But they're not under Title 15, which they're supposed to, under the Fair Debt Collection Practices, which they say they're not really, government wasn't really officially on that, which it was. They basically said that the government can't collect. So what they did was they changed it to this other something of 1998. Right here, I attached this. So that's the IRS Restructuring and Reform Act of 1998, which is their version of Title 15. So now they can collect debts under these rules. They made their own rules. So they weren't applying, Title 15 didn't apply to government employees collecting debt, as I understood it. It's your own research, man. So this is formally, you know, debt collection practices. So I've attached this. This is from the Internal Revenue Manual that goes over this crap. Over this. Not the Internal Revenue Manual, but just the IRS's version of this as it in their manual, in their publications, which isn't law. So anyways, I just sent this because I just wanted to tell him that it applies to him now. So these debt collection, basically everything of 15 now applies to them. So that allows them, I don't know if it allows them to collect a debt. They have to follow all those, debt collectors, all the rules, which is good for us. Anyways, all requests heretofore are made under the Freedom Information Act to get fair disclosure and validated assessment, which is a bill. an official bill coming from a public official office, this guy, 10 days is not enough to respond to anything, so I gave him more time. I gave him 30 days. First, under 26, 60, 65, all documents and all assessments prepared by both taxpayers and by IRS Public Office Employees, including 266020B, substitute for return SFR assessments, must be signed under penalty of perjury. That's bullshit. They never sign them, and there's places in there that say they don't have to sign them in the certain sections, whatever. Let's go over it. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, Title 15 now is a certain part of Title 15. I think maybe all of Title 15 is the first it's an act, then it becomes a fucking law. And it's all for the franchise. It's all for people who want to volunteer. The U.S. citizen, if you want to volunteer to be that, I don't know. You did, I guess, de facto. If you have a number, unless you tell the Social Security Administration you're not, you better tell them something. Write them an unless otherwise directed, I'm going to think I'm this. Unless you tell me I'm that, I'm this. I'm not a name, I'm a man, I'm not a number. 42 U.S.C. 1994 says peonage is abolished. Okay? So in other words, any debt, obligation, or otherwise declared null and void, we're not peons. So it's not maintain and enforce directly or indirectly. Involuntary or voluntary service of labor of any person, yeah, it's all bullshit. Because we're slaves, but we can't ignore these notices like I did. I really screwed up ignoring this notice. I went on vacation and then fucking forgot about it. Don't ignore frivolous. I mean, they send out this stupid that it's legal against the Constitution and all this crap. It looks like this. I don't want to give my Social Security number and all this shit, but I don't want to. But here's what it looks like. So they basically say you have this time. You better get on with ball. File how we want you to. Maybe consult with an accountant. And then so here it is, publication. I don't know, 210. That's what it's called. And it goes over this. Why do I have to pay taxes? And it's been copied about 1 million times. I can barely read it by them. This is how it came. I mean, it was copied about 1 million times. Don't fall for these arguments. And these are all the frivolous. Know the law. But this isn't law. This is just publication. Remember? Publication's not law. 210. We'll go over that in this forum. Hang with me. We'll go that. In this letter, we'll go over that. Just hang with me. This is good stuff. I spent a lot of time doing this. Notification of legal responsibility is the first essential process to do law. I didn't research this, but it's Connolly versus General Construction. Under 15 U.S.C. 1692G, paragraph Charlie, administration of liability, the failure of a consumer to dispute the validity of the debt under this section may not be construed by any court as an admission of liability. In other words, they can send me that frickin' frivolous shit all day long, and threatening a $5,000 fee, but if I fail to dispute it under Title 15, which is applicable, I don't know, is that applicable to the IRS? It's a gray area because I've studied it, and it melds in with this, and basically this is the same thing, except where they say they can collect a debt. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't done research enough on the IRS Restructuring Form Act, which took parts of basically all the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and incorporated it into law. And we'll go over that, where that law is located. Therefore, please provide. So I told him what to do. Please provide me the nil default judgment. In other words, the judgment that says, when I wasn't there, I didn't say anything when they sent out the letter, two frivolous letters really, that I owe this money, this $5,000 frivolous filing fee, or is it a fee? Is it a bill? What is it? Fine? It says it's a frivolous filing fee, I think. I gotta pay the fee to associate with these people. An official verified assessment, which is my bill. That's all I want is my fucking bill. Okay, there's an official assessment if it's a bill. Specific reasons why this guy accusing frivolous filing on my 1040EZs and 1040Xs. I later filed a 1040X requesting all my. So at first I was requesting zero money. They withheld zero in 2013. I wasn't requesting shit. I just was filing to renege my info returns, just like the losthorizons.com website examples. And then such official declaration exists under 15 USC 1692G, validation of debts. So I believe that this government law, its government officials have to follow that law. So this might be some kind of convoluting psyop, this Restructuring Reform Act, which is it's real short. I guess it's only like 20 pages of PDF, but I got other shit to do. I've got another problem now. With this problem comes where they can do a letter to your company if they're a U.S. company, a registered U.S. company. They're controlled by the government. And then, so they have to, they can be bullied by the IRS. They just do what the IRS says. Even though it's no law, they do form. It's called a locked-in letter. And so the locked-in letter says, basically, you filed zero exemptions. You filed zero benefits. Like you didn't have dependents, or you didn't have, your interest on your house wasn't written off. Those are deductions. So each one of those is a number from like 1 to a maximum of 10 on your W-4 form. It's electronic now, probably, on your, or whatever it is for you. But for me, it's electronically, and I fit under penalty of perjury. You don't withdraw because I don't owe the tax. So I requested him to officially sign this per 266065, if the return is officially filed by an official office, such as an undersigned, a copy of said filing, including internal revenue and IRS escalation procedures, and I wanted higher level, bill assessments, basically under 26 USC, and registered for profit, whatever, collects the bills. So IRS collects the bills but they're illegally collecting them. That's why they had to do it in 1998. I believe that's what it's for. Because in 15 USC, they're illegally collecting the bill. Government employees can't collect bills from citizens, I guess. Whatever, U.S. citizens or private, it doesn't matter. They can only collect bills from their own employees. Not even employees. This is very specific. Not even government employees can collect from their own government employees. So they had to change it for government employees, which is what Title 26 is all about. They had to do this IRS Restructuring Form Act in 1998. I asked him to provide the wage and income transcript 3 times. I never got it. My wage and income transcripts for 13, 14, and 15 years. And I even said the women, and I was going to go, this other freaking guy who didn't send it. I didn't have it notarized. My request was notarized because authorized to Okay, so who determined that was frivolous without violating 267433? Okay, and I'll go over that. That's 7433 is reckless intentional negligence regarding the provision of the Internal Revenue Code. Can you remember that? 26 CFR is more specific. You can't err as you go to the CFR. That's more detailed than the USC. More fucking pages. I do have it. That it's called the Complete Internal Revenue Code, and it wasn't written by the IRS. It was written by the Internal Revenue, which is a separate corporation. No, it's a bureau under the Department of Treasury. The IRS is a corporation registered in Delaware, for-profit corporation. So we got reckless intentional negligence disregarding the provisions of the Internal Revenue Code. That's 267433, and that's what I'm going to. We're still getting him to do these things, and the authority. What authority did he have to do frivolous? And of course, we know all these are not law. Only the Internal Revenue Code and the USC, U.S. Code is law, not judge bulletins or internal revenue bulletins, publications, manuals, notifications, interoffice memos, forms, notices, and notifications, pre-written letters, email correspondence. For email correspondence, they have pre-written shit. You can look that up. Actually, in the Cornell University, when they do codes in the notes section, sometimes they'll refer to IRS form letters. Employee statements or guidance, you can't depend on that. No, you can't sue an employee for his guidance. You can sue him for his actions. This can't be dependent on Internal Revenue Manual. I said that IRS or Internal Revenue documents, procedures, or supplements. Everything, basically, that's not the law, all right? If it ain't in here, it's not the law. This only applies, this was written by government employees for government employees. 4,043 pages of it. Probably like 24,000 pages of PDF. So this official stands... This official silence stands as consent, tacit approval for the declarations of facts established as a matter of law, and this affidavit, which is what this is, absent timely rebuttal, will stand as final judgment in this matter unless otherwise directed within 30 days. Carl will work to complete these. My frivolous filing fee is causing me a great hardship because of the fucking locked-in letter on the W-4 withholding, which is withholding is only for government employees. So is a frickin' levy and distraint under 6331, 266331. It's only for government employees. So, within a trader business, trader businesses by now, check out the 7701, 267701. Functions or whatever of a public office, final notice. So this is his final notice. I'm not fucking around. You stab me in the back with this shit. I'm coming after you. So if you don't process my 2013 amended return for a refund of this, then legal proceedings will commence against you. Here it is. Prove that my earnings were wages effectively connected with a trader business. 26 USC 3401 and 7701. Trader business, right? Functions. The term trader business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. I can't get a definition of that, but it's not. I don't even think it's in my legal dictionary. But It seems like it's voted in it, but public office, I think that includes every. If you read the holistic approach to the code, it includes officers of the corporation, which is a federal corporation, or employees also. So everyone working for the government. It's a public office, all right? Don't tell me I'm a government employee. Maybe we may have to file like that eventually. Who knows? We might have to just pay the damn thing. It's cheaper than taking out 20% on my paycheck. I was better off paying 10% after all my deductions, a little under 10% of my paycheck. File IRS complaint using this section 203 allegation referral form. I'll give you the form number without disclosing my shit here. There it is. Non-trader business. Don't say you're a taxpayer or an employee. And then have it notarized. Okay. And here it is. Form. Memorize it. It's hard to find this section shit. So this form, you might be able to find it on, I doubt if you'll be able to find it on the IRS site, but I think I did. Form 12-217. Last revised in 1999. Of course they're not going to mess with this form. This is the employee complaint form. It goes to the Inspector General of the Treasury, man. Okay. So I'm going to file a complaint against him with the comptroller, the banking cartel leader, the commissioner, and for validation of debts, name a creditor. Didn't give me 30 days to dispute any debt. The validity, I never got a valid debt. A verification of debt, a copy of the judgment that says that the assessment was made from the judge, stamped it. Internal Revenue fucking judge stamped it and then sent it back to the Internal Revenue Service Collection Corporation. They're a collections corporation for profit. And then file employee complaint, commissioner. And the comptroller, already mentioned that. The requirements of this 1692G. So it's all within the Title 15. And then official complaint, since the Internal Revenue Commissioner for furnishing certain deceptive forms. That's 1692. And a frivolous threat letter. That was the threatening letter, the letter 3178 Charlie, the IRS. So it thinks they're trying to collect something, but they're really not. I want the bill, bitch. Send me the fucking bill. Then I'll pay the bill. If it's just a fucking administration fee, I don't know. It's on. If $5,000 is definitely on. I called the locked-in letter bitch, and file a civil lawsuit under this 1692K civil liability. So there it is. I can file what I want to file. It might get thrown out. I'm not going to do that. This complaint, this threat of this complaint, and this form, this section 1203, which is from the IRS Restructuring Form Act. So it's a section 1203 from that act. That's a very powerful form. And I put it on legal so that fucking notary doesn't freak out and not sign it. If there's not enough room, sometimes the notary will be a bitch about it. Or a bastard. Let's see. Usually I don't have any problem with guys, it's just these women notaries. File civil liability lawsuit. Okay, not going to do that. Probably. That's a last resort, man. For intentional noncompliance of the debt collector provisions. In other words, he broke the law. U.S. employees aren't supposed to, they can't collect a debt under 15 U.S.C. 1692. I don't know if they can under this new act, which supersedes Formally, the Debt Collection Practices Act. It's not a formally, it's still in Act under Title 15. So this is a total PSYOP. It's an IRS Internal Revenue Service PSYOP. Looks like they got the scales and the key. What's the key for? The key to your fucking safe where all the gold is stored. File a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, unfair deceptive practices in violation of 1541. I don't think I'll get away with that because I don't think it applies to. It applies to government employees. It's a federal law, but I'm not sure if it applies because they can't collect a debt under USC 41, but. Failure to comply, you're legally estoped. In other words, you have no recourse. All this can be held up in a court of law. So you want to take this and register it with your local county courthouse. And then it can be, if it's not at the local county courthouse, a copy of it in your file recorded there, then you can't bring this in to any local court as evidence for the jury. You're not going to fucking teach the jury any law. Everybody should know that. That's standard law practice with the judge. So only the judge can teach the jury the law. So if the judge is a U.S. judge, you're screwed. First of all, you wouldn't go to a U.S. court. You challenge jurisdiction and get it thrown out. You want to get thrown out any notices before, to have them prove jurisdiction over you before. You're not a government employee. You want to file your taxes to be left alone or to get more justice from the IRS, that's fine. Lie on your fucking taxes. It's okay by me. It's all fucking lie anyways. They're lying to us. It's big deception. Gould versus Gould says if the law is deceiving, it favors the common man. Somewhere, I'm paraphrasing. Anyways, certified mail just so you can sleep. Not like he's gonna sign for it, but I did certify it. Just so I could say that you got it in court of law. Really, you want this signature back, but that's like $9. I mean, this is like how much was it? $4. It's like $4.50. So it's like $8.50. It's like twice as expensive if you want to sign a green card back from signed. So I just want my bill. Send me my bill. Get the fuck out of here, Carl. All right. Hope this helps. And if you need a copy of this, just contact me through YouTube, and I'll gladly send you a copy of this on email. Okay. And of course, this is where I got all the information, but it's neatly in here. See? IRS Restructuring Form Act, Section 3466 makes Internal Revenue and Internal Revenue Service subject to the provision of the FDCPA. Oh, well, it does? In that case, the FDCPA, that's Title 15, so it does. They have to follow the rules in there. So they're breaking their own rules by collecting a debt. That's why they never call you, people. They're trying to collect a debt illegally under the Title 15. Anyways, hope this helps. Okay. Thanks. Bye.